Hello and welcome into the Hawkeye Headquarters Weekly podcast. Evan Denton alongside Joel Kellar. And Joel, we ended last week talking about the portal, and then out of nowhere, Cohen Entringer decides, you know what, I'm going to jump into the portal. When you saw that news, what was going through your mind?
Oh, well, that happened right after we finished recording this podcast, so I instantly thought back to how I was talking about how loaded the secondary is going to be for the Hawkeyes, and I was like, well, I guess we're going to have to recap that next week. And, I mean, it was stunning. Mm-hmm. I did not expect Cohen. He would have been in my list of, like, the bottom three players I would expect to transfer out of Iowa.
Right.
So I was stunned by the news.
I mean, he was a starter all year. He was a team captain, third on the team in tackles, an absolute leader in that locker room. He's going to play significant minutes next year, and then he just bolts off to Louisville, of all places.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, the amount of players that Iowa has put in the NFL on the defensive side.
Exactly.
And then you're going to go to Louisville, who they're more offense-oriented. It's more of an offensive team. So I don't know the thinking there. Probably a little bit has to do with some cash from Louisville. So it's interesting.
But see, Personally, I thought Iowa players were above going elsewhere for money purely, and especially a leader like Cohen Entringer, where we've seen him reciting the Kinnick long-time speech before every game, and he's no longer a Hawkeye. It's kind of hard for me to really digest all together. But of course, Iowa had to move diligently, and they found more or less his replacement in Xavier Styles out of Robert Morris. What are your thoughts on him so far?
I mean, he's just like the Iowa strategy in the portal, just in one guy. You take someone from a lesser conference or a lesser team, but he is young and he has a lot of potential in him. I mean, he had a couple pass breakups, a couple of tackles for loss, a couple of sacks. It seems like he can really do everything as a safety, and Entringer is one of those guys too. So it hopefully won't be too much of a drop. Obviously, Entringer is like a potential All-American next year. So you're going to drop off a little bit, but I think Styles is going to give enough upside where Phil Parker will still be able to put out a top 5 defense next year.
And so Styles is about 1 inch taller than Entringer, but he's a little slimmer, so we'll have to see if he can hold up to the Big Ten physicality come next fall. But he's not the only addition that Iowa's made in the portal. What other moves have really caught your interest?
My number one move is getting that wide receiver from UTRGV.
Okay, that's a lot of initials.
Rio Grande Valley. But Tony Diaz, he had 880 yards last year and 11 touchdowns. I couldn't say the last time a Hawkeye receiver has done that. And I know it's in whatever conference Rio Grande Valley plays in. I don't want to guess, so
right.
I'm just going to leave it at whatever conference they play in. But I mean, to have a guy who can make the plays that he can, I mean, you look at his highlights, he can do one-handed catches, and he can match. I think he'll match well with Vanderzee because Diaz is 5'11", Vanderzee's 6'5", so you can really kind of mess a little bit with the formations there, and then, of course, the loaded tight end room. So I think this would be a big pickup, and he's young, so he's going to have a lot of time to work with Heklinski, work with Tim Lester, and this entire Iowa offense. And that's just what they've been – it seems like that's their strategy is get the young guys, get them in the system, and then maybe next year they'll be all right, but 27, the Hawks are coming.
2027, you heard it here first from Joel Kellar. That is the year that the Hawkeyes soar to the CFP playoff and even potentially further than that.
I would say playoff is the number one goal.
Okay.
If they all pan out,
right?
Why not the semis?
Why not the semis? All right, so that's your prediction about who could be about a great addition from the portal. I'm going with the running back from South Dakota. All right, L.J. Phillips ran for just under 2,000 yards a year ago for South Dakota, 19 scores on the ground. He kind of replaces T.J. Washington, if you will, and Jazz Patterson, who are now in the portal. But my thing is this. Can you ever have too much competition at one position? Because you bring him in, you've got, obviously, Kamari Moulton, Xavier Williams, and a young guy in Nathan McNeil, who there's been a lot of hype around him. There's only one football at a time in a game, if people didn't know that. How can you spread the wealth around enough to make sure that, you know what, we keep this stable of 4 the entire offseason, that one of them doesn't go into the portal after maybe spring ball?
I think having a young quarterback like Head Clancy kind of opens the door for this. Obviously, that's still a lot of talent to go around and not as many snaps per game to feed everyone the way they want to. So I don't know how they're going to maybe figure it out. Maybe we see a transfer out after spring ball if someone's not getting the touches they want at that point in time. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But, I mean, to have all the talent, I think that just motivates each and every one of them to match whoever the leader is in the clubhouse and then continue up through that. So I think it can only be better if you have a ton of depth. And to add him there, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. Anytime you add a nearly 2,000-yard rusher to your team.
I mean, he's 5'11", just over 200 pounds, so he is stocky, he is built, and he's hard to get down to the ground. Iowa, we know it's a developmental program. All right, that's what's been its bread and butter. But they keep going into the FCS pool to get new players. Obviously, it worked for Mark Gronowski. Do you think that Iowa is going that route too often now?
I am all right with it, and I'm all right with it as long as they keep getting guys who are those underclassmen and they still have 2 or 3 years of eligibility left. Because, I mean, you look at what Cignetti's done at Indiana. Well, he didn't get any of these 5-star recruits. He wasn't paying $1 million initially in the portal. I'm sure Mendoza got his bag after his phenomenal year last year. But, I mean, that's how he built it up. He got a bunch of guys who already had a year or two of starting experience and still had 2 or 3 years left. And now they're in that second year of his tenure. And, I mean, look at them. They're basically the national champions at this point. I mean, they've blown out some of the top programs in the country. So I like that they're going that route. And, I mean, how many players get into the game for a football game? What, like 30 plus?
On both sides of the ball,
Yeah, so, I mean, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket with $1 million for safety. I like getting a whole bunch of good quality guys that you can build up in your program for maybe like $300K each, 3 for 1.
I agree with you. I just kind of think that, like you said, Cignetti has won so much already in 2 years. Does that kind of speed up the process of, hey, yes, we want to develop guys, but we also want to be good in the process? Like, yes, 2027 is great in theory, but what about 2026? I don't know. Maybe Hawkeyes are okay with waiting 1 more year, but I think Chris Cignetti has made it very hard, much harder for coaches to get that long-term investment because people want results now.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already seen that in college football, right? I mean, so many of these coaches are getting released after 2 or 3 years, and now it's even stretching into the pros where if you're not breaking into the playoffs really in year 2, you're chopped, you're off. So there's not a lot of patience, but I think if there's one fan base that has proven they're patient, it is Iowa with Kirk Ferentz. And we're not saying they're gonna be bad next year.
No,
they're gonna be. They've got a solid schedule. I think like you could see a 10-2 year sneak into the playoffs. Probably not host, but go travel and play, and that's a good step to get into that next point in 27 when you think, okay, they can compete a little further than they have yet in the playoff era.
All right, so we'll let Coach Ferentz and his staff enjoy their offseason, get this team ready to go. Let's talk about a current team in process, the Iowa men's basketball team. They went 0-2 last week against both Minnesota and Illinois, their first home loss of the year. That Illinois game, yes, it was only a 6-point loss at the end, but that first half just avalanched against the Hawkeyes, and it got ugly very quickly.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about first half struggles a lot today.
Right.
It's on both basketball teams at Iowa, and I think the men's, they have it way worse. That start, 3 points in like 7 minutes against Minnesota, and basically the same thing on repeat against Illinois is just unacceptable. I mean, there has got to be a way to get these guys to come out, at least fire in their averages in the first 10 minutes. Because, they literally lost that Illinois game in the first 10 minutes.
It was 21-5 within the first 8 minutes of the game. And it went from a crazy environment inside Carver Hawkeye to, I wouldn't say silence, but just the energy was not there like it was initially. And yes, Iowa fought back in the second half without Bennett Sturts, shockingly, who was in foul trouble. But Ben McCollum and this team, they're not about moral victories, all right? They've lost 4 games this year, and 3 of them are to ranked teams. So they're playing good competition, but they want wins. And they had the opportunity in their backyard, didn't get the job done. And yes, they're currently in the field for NCAA tournament. They need to stack some more wins, though.
They do. They do. And I hate to complain. I will complain a lot about that Minnesota game. That is a loss that at the end of the day could, if they're on the bubble come March and they don't win in the Big Ten tournament, that loss is me pointing to leave them out of the field.
Absolutely.
But the Illinois loss, I can't get too upset about because I think, what were we expecting this year? We were like, let's be a bubble team, sneak into the bracket. Well, now we're getting upset about losing to a ranked team. And it just shows, like, so far, while it's frustrating right now, McCollum has built, he's on pace, if not way in front of pace for where they should be. I mean, the Hawks are playing in the Big Ten with a borderline FCS team of talent.
Yep.
Though we know this talent's a lot better than where they were recruited at high school. But that's kind of what he's working with, right? And then he's got Fulgaris, who, isn't the top tier talent either. So I think it sucks right now, but you kind of put it in this perspective at this point. But yeah, I mean, if they wanna make some noise, they got to take a couple more ranked wins.
I think the silver lining out of all of this, obviously with Ben Sturt's in foul trouble, Tavion Banks arguably played his best game in a black and gold uniform. Tate Sage, the moment wasn't too big for him. And yes, Alvaro Fulgaris played well in stretches. Still needed more consistency. I was more shocked that Cam Manyow didn't play more than he did. Maybe it's because he's dealing with sickness, but he did not have an impact in that game against Illinois.
Yeah, and it was a similar story against Minnesota. And I think both games, I'm just kind of waiting for Manyow to get back in. And it just, the moment doesn't come.
Yeah.
And it's, I get it, like, he's not the greatest offensive player. They're playing from behind, but you need some defense to keep the deficit at where it's at before it gets too big. So it'd be nice to see him out there, maybe grab some defensive rebounds, take away some second chance opportunities from the other team. But yeah, I mean, the sickness going around the team, you hate to use that as a cop-out for the past couple of games, but it's hard to ignore. I mean, you can tell with the players on the court, like, they're not playing with the same intensity they were against Michigan State and Iowa State way back.
But I think in all this, we also need to give some credit to Illinois. All right, they're one of the biggest teams in the country, and they use that to their advantage. I was not familiar with Peja Stojakovic's son Andre's game. He is an NBA talent. Kyan Boswell really got into Ben Sturt's all game long and really got him off of his game offensively. Illinois can make some noise in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I agree. They're really good. And if you want to pick a team in the Big Ten that's like the Iowa kryptonite, it's Illinois.
It's Illinois, yeah.
It's Illinois, maybe like Michigan or Purdue, but it's any tall team is Iowa's going to struggle against. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to remember that. Hawks are also a little shorter than everyone.
They are, yes.
But I think one of the big things is Sturtz kind of needs to figure out how to play against these top guards in the nation. I mean, he's had a couple of games against them where he hasn't played as well as, we have all seen. Right. And I think once that gets into the tournament, once we get into March, he's going to be facing these top guards every single game. So he's got to get out of his shell a little bit, stop forcing up bad shots, and do better at finding those good shots, maybe move off ball a little more than he has.
So Iowa is now 12-4 overall. What is on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of concern with this team?
I would say like a 5.
Yeah.
I mean, in the big picture, I'm not too concerned, but to make the tournament, you got to beat a couple of tournament teams. So they do need to start winning these Big Ten games, on the road especially. I am very nervous about what the season's going to look like if they can't win on the road, even against the unranked Big Ten teams.
Well, we're going to find out a whole lot about this Iowa team on the road because they go against the entire state of Indiana coming up. They go at Purdue. Ben Sturtz versus Braden Smith is going to be box office point guard matchup. And then Iowa goes on the road to Indiana, the Hoosiers, inside Assembly Hall. It's always a tough place to play. I think they need to go 1-1 in this stretch. They can't go on a 4-game losing streak, but it's not going to be easy at either game.
It will not. I couldn't say the last time the Hawks won at Mackey Arena.
Yeah.
And Indiana, it seems like whenever they face off, the home team's got a big upper hand. Assembly Hall also a very hard place to play at. So they've got a tough little stretch here. If you grab one, that takes a lot of pressure off.
Right.
And for the rest of January and beginning of February. But if you lose, you cannot lose a game that you were favored in the rest of the year.
We're going to have to wait and see about McCollum and company. All right, for the Iowa women's basketball team, somehow, some way, they are 5-0 in the Big Ten. They went on the road, were down by 16 points to a winless Indiana team in Big Ten play. They clawed out, and they are 5-0 in the Big Ten. Joel, should we be celebrating these close wins, or should we be, pulling the fire alarm like, hey, this team is not what we thought they are?
I mean, it's hard to be upset about a win, right? An undefeated Big Ten team, how can you be upset at that? But, man, have they given us some reasons, too.
Yes.
Those first halves have been just so awful, especially the last one against Indiana.
35-19. They scored 19 points in 20 minutes of action.
This is crazy. and it's just like rinse and repeat of what cost them the game against Iowa State, too, is they weren't able to score in that second quarter at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to be nervous about them, but I kind of am.
I think I'm nervous for the point where I don't think they're going to host NCAA tournament games. I think they're a tournament team for sure, but we want to see Carver Hawkeye Arena be lit up once again for March Madness, and just the last two games have shown me, okay, they're very much a bubble when it comes to hosting games. So that's why I'm nervous about.
Yeah, definitely don't want them to slide into the 5 seed either.
Yep.
That would be frustrating with the 12 and the 5. Yeah, I mean, they're walking that line. All it will take is just one time playing and starting off late, catching up to them, and they'll lose that game. And then maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to lose one of those and get told, hey, you can't bail yourself out in the second half with the crazy performance every single game against every team.
Right. Well, Ava Hayden and Chit Chat Wright led the team with 13 points apiece. I got a chance to talk to Ava Hayden, get to know the Ava away from the court. Some of her hobbies are cooking, reading, and then she's a big Legends of Zelda player. Are you in that boat, Joel?
I have never played Legends of Zelda, but I mean, I've used the Zelda character on like Super Smash Bros.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe that counts a little bit.
Well, whatever works for her. I mean, she is leading the team and scoring at 16 points a game. She's borderline a first-team All Big Ten player at this point. A handful of double-doubles. What has impressed you about her play so far this year?
I think just the growth that she's been able to make from freshman year to sophomore year already. I feel like this is a jump you don't see in 1 year. I mean, usually you see it more over the course of a career where a player shows a lot of potential freshman year, and by the time she turns into a junior or senior, then she starts to break out. But she's already been doing that, and she's taken on a big role, especially when a lot of people thought, hey, Hannah Stolke is going to be that number 1 option this year. And when Stolke has struggled, she has slid into that role many, many times where she is the number 1 option now for the Hawks.
And she's also kind of a trailblazer. Funny fact here, she is the first Oregonian to ever play for Iowa women's basketball. All right, she's from a town of just over 20,000 people coming to Iowa City. She said that she kind of misses home a little bit, but she has found her new home in Iowa City. She grew up a Oregon Ducks fan, hoping to play like Sabrina Ionescu at some point. But now they get to play Oregon on Thursday inside Carver Hawkeye. What are your thoughts going into that game?
It's going to be a big game, I think, for Iowa. I mean, they had a nice little stretch there where it wasn't the best, it wasn't the top tier Big Ten teams by any means, and I guess maybe they were playing down to that competition a little bit. So I mean, you get someone who is a borderline tournament team. You know, the expectation is probably that Oregon will get in. I think so. I mean, this is a big moment. You get them at the home court too, so you have that advantage. You have that comfort. Go out there and make a statement. Hey, those last 2 games were just a couple of mistakes, and we are for real. We are a legit Big Ten contender.
An 8 o'clock tip-off, it's kind of a late time in my opinion. I'd rather have it say 6:30 or 7, but I think the crowd will still make it out to Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah, and it's Carver, it's not Kinnick, so you know you only got to bring in 25,000 people. So we need the Eastern Iowa folks definitely to pack that stadium.
Yeah.
The Des Moines, I know from experience, it is tough to make that 8 o'clock game. It is. You get back hopefully around midnight. Maybe closer to 1, depending on the traffic out of the game. So
Gotcha.
it's a little more difficult for those Des Moines fans to make it work.
Okay. We're going to have the full Ava Hayden story on Thursday leading up to tip-off at Carver Hawkeye. And of course, we'll have highlights and post-game reaction. But another key return for Iowa is Kylie Feuerbach. She made her return in the Indiana game. Having a senior leader like her back, what will that do for the locker room?
I think that's just going to help them right the ship a little easier You know, I mean, she's someone who she can kind of like help with the coaches to get everyone back on track during timeouts and not have to wait until the locker room at halftime to get everyone to do a quick reset during a cold streak. So, I mean, she should be able to help out with that, I think, a lot, and that's gonna pay dividends.
And Layla Hayes even said that whenever she has questions, she knows that the person that she can go to for anything is always Kylie Feuerbach. So having her back in the rotation, I think is going to make a major impact for the Hawkeyes moving forward through the Big Ten. But hey, they are still undefeated at the top of the conference alongside UCLA. So we'll have to see how far they can keep this undefeated stretch going.
There you go. I mean, as long as they win, I'm going to try not to complain at all. Just keep winning.
All right, let's go from the hardwood into the NFL playoffs. An incredible wild card round this past weekend. The Chicago Bears, get their first playoff win in 15 years. See, you're a Giants fan, all right? And they're clearly not in the playoffs. Are you becoming a Bears fan living in the Quad Cities?
I am. Everyone here is a Bears fan, which I did not expect coming here. I knew it was like more towards Chicago, but no, I enjoy the Bears too. I've never like disliked them. I love Caleb Williams. I think he's the truth. So it's been fun to cheer on the Bears and have everyone else like cheer them on too. Because I go back to Des Moines, I've got Packers, Vikings fans, and Lions fans, and everyone's like, oh, like I don't like the Bears. They don't deserve this. They keep getting bailed. I'm like, no, this is a comeback team.
Right.
They make the plays to win.
See, as a Bears fan, at halftime, it was 21-3. They were down. I was pacing back and forth in my apartment. I'm like, wow, we're really going to lose to the Packers for a second time this year. Our season is done. But then I remembered they're called the Chicago Cardiac Bears for a reason. That was one of the best fourth quarters I've ever seen in my life. Caleb Williams showed why he can be a future NFL MVP. And when he got the ball with under 3 minutes to go, I legitimately thought, you know what? There's no way we lose this game. And they just made the plays down the stretch. Shout out to Dennis Allen, D coordinator. He got that team turned around at halftime. And now they're on to the divisional round against the Rams. They're on the verge of their first NFC title game since the 2010 playoffs.
I mean, how crazy is that for you to say? Can you believe it?
Oh my! And I really can't. I really cannot. That this Bears franchise in 1 year of Ben Johnson has just completely done a 180, and the future looks so bright for this team.
And that is exactly why I am just like ready for football season start next year for the New York Giants. If they get the right coach. If they get John Harbaugh in New Jersey, they can be just as magical as the Bears this year. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's part of the reason why I'm like, let's go Bears.
That could be you.
Yeah, that's us next year. Like, set the path.
Yes. Okay. So outside the Bears game, which other game impressed you the most?
I would probably have to go with the Patriots game.
Okay.
You know, I think the Patriots really got tested a lot of people say for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And they kind of showed up. They showed up when needed. It took a little bit to get going, but they made the winning plays. And I think, again, like Drake May, young quarterback like Caleb Williams, we've seen them both kind of start off a little cold, then get into their groove and kind of win the games their own way. Not as exciting for the Patriots as the Bears, but pretty exciting. And they got the job done when a lot of people were counting them out, considering it was a 2 versus 7 seed.
Right.
You know, so I was impressed with them kind of proving everyone wrong.
All right, Joel, I got to give you credit when credit's due. You told me to look out for postseason version of Bryce Young. And even though the Panthers lost to the Rams, they put up much more of a fight than I ever thought they could. And Carolina, I think they found their future quarterback for years to come. Bryce Young put me on notice real quick. I think the Panthers, along with maybe the Giants, are a team to look out for next year. That was my most surprising game. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the Niners game, and then George Kittle got hurt.
Yeah.
And a torn Achilles. Hopefully he comes back at full strength, maybe not next year, but the year after. Obviously an Iowa legend, one of the best players in the league right now. Just how big of an injury do you think that will be towards the Niners reaching the Super Bowl?
I think it honestly kills their chances.
Yeah.
I mean, Juwan Jennings has been fine as a weapon. Pearsall has not taken the next step. In fact, he's probably declined from his rookie year. CMC, he is phenomenal, but if he's the only true weapon on that team, you can really game plan around him and force other guys to beat you. So I think taking a big weapon like Kittle off that team is going to make it so much easier to game plan. And the Seahawks have a phenomenal defense.
They do.
So that's probably the last team they want to face this next round without Kittle. So I just don't know how they would go all the way with this without him.
I mean, they just played Seattle to end the regular season, and they got smoked in that one, for being honest. So I think Seattle has the upper hand in that one for sure. What about you in that game?
Oh, yeah, Seattle, I think, as long as Sam Darnold shows up this time in a big game, I think they're good to go. And it helps out. He's got JSN.
He does, yeah.
He's got a stable of running backs that can make some plays when needed to, and the phenomenal defense, of course.
All right, so let's go down the list then. You got the Seahawks over the Niners, Bears, Rams.
Got the Bears, baby.
You got the Bears.
Got the Bears.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big Rams guy. It'd be cool if Stafford wins, but there's not enough for me to cheer for on that team, honestly.
Oh, well, clearly I got the Bears too. All right, let's go quickly through the AFC. Broncos, Bills.
I think the Broncos make a statement. I think the Bills have been begging for teams to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They keep making the losing plays, and then they'll come back and have a phenomenal drive to end the game. And I don't know. I think the Broncos get the job done.
I got Josh Allen in this one. I've got the Bills going into Denver and getting the win in that one.
It's fair. It's a popular answer.
Yeah, it is. Patriots, Texans.
This is probably the biggest toss-up.
I think it is. I think
the Texans, they didn't look that great against the Steelers until they did.
Their defense turned it up.
Yeah, they went crazy in that second half. So I think the defense will cause the Patriots a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. And they just need C.J. Stroud to get back closer to rookie year form and not fumble the ball 4 times like he did last night. So I think the Texans will. I think they get the job done against the Patriots.
I think it's a low-scoring game, but I've also got Houston winning it. So my AFC title game is Houston, Buffalo. NFC title game is Bears, Seahawks.
All right, so Broncos, Bills, may the best man win.
Here we go. All right, well, we got a lot more great NFL action coming up this weekend. But for now, for Hawkeye Headquarters with the podcast, Evan Denton alongside Joel Kellar. Have a great day.